Hello everyone, this is Jared with Ada Custom Computers, and I've got another completed build that I'd like to share with you. This build is in the phanteks Enthoo Pro, which, if I believe correctly, is the little brother to the Enthoo Evolve ATX. So yeah, this is actually my dad's build. He did all the designs on it, and all the cover plates and the paint, and basically the only thing I did was just water block installation, wiring, and just making sure everything ran right. I wired all the fans. I did the power supply. He did all the tubing. He did all the mods. All those cover panels are him. He did a really good job on that too. So I did the LEDs. I did there's a ton of wiring in this case. This is probably the most wiring I've ever done in my entire life, but we're gonna get into that later on in the video on the wiring. So let's talk about components. For the motherboard, I'm using the Maximus 7 Ranger, the Z97 chipset, and for the CPU we're using the i7 4790K overclocked to 4.4 gigahertz at 20%. RAM is 32 gigs of DDR3 Kingston HyperX 1866 megahertz, which is factory specs for the 4790K. And power supply is a Corsair RM750 fully modular power supply. Graphics card is an older graphics card. It's a GTX 970. Factory clock, factory specs. It's got two SSDs. I want to say Kingston HyperX Savage 500 gigs running in RAID 0, and it's got a Samsung 950 Pro. I want to say 950 Pro 256 gig M.2, and I think that's about it for components. Alright, let's roll into wiring, because this is actually something I want to spend the most of the time on the video talking about, because the wiring on this thing was just a beast. I mean, there was so much of it going on. You see here I used the whole line of Corsair Commander Pro line. I used the obviously the Corsair Commander Pro. I used the Lighting Node Pro for the LEDs, which you see down there below. Since I'm using all Corsair HD 120 fans, they obviously require the separate Lighting Node Pro module. Yeah, it's got the Lighting Node on it. That's what you see down below the Commander Pro, because you've actually got two wires running from there. You've got the fan wire, and then you've got the lighting wires. So you're not going to be able to run these fans with just a regular Commander Pro. You're going to have to get the module that comes with the fans too. I don't think it's called the Lighting Node. I'm sorry about that. That's you buy them as a kit of 3 fans, and it comes with that module for about $80-$90 on Amazon, I want to say. So I had to go ahead and individually sleeve every one of those, change the links up on them. They don't use traditional fan pins for the lighting portion. They actually use something, I think it's called DuPont pins, and that's what I replaced that with, was DuPont pins. You can't use the connectors are different, which I don't understand why Corsair did that. It would have been easier just to use just standard fan pins, because, you know, as we know, they work for LEDs just fine for RGB LEDs, because most of the new motherboards have RGB LED headers on there. So I don't know why they did that, but anyways, you're gonna have to switch to DuPont connectors. And it was a lot of trial and error on that one. That's my first time doing something like that, but for the most part everything was successful. Obviously they're able to run in serial, so yeah, I call that one a success. Just a ton of wiring on this, as you can see. It uses a SATA power for the lighting for the Commander Pro, and I want to say it's SATA also for the little module for the HD 120 fans. If anybody knows what it's really called, just go ahead and leave it down in the comments, because it's just slipping my mind right now. I have no idea what it's called. But yeah, That wiring was an absolute beast. So just, you can almost tell you could tell to where I kind of lost patience, and I just wanted to hurry up and get it done so I can get the system fired up. So that's why you see a lot of wires that aren't sleeved down there, is I just flat out lost patience with it. And then, but that's something that I know in the future that I'm gonna have to work harder on, is just taking my time with the wiring and making sure it's done right. Alright, something I'd also like to talk about is tubing routing, because I noticed this a lot with other builders, that you're going to see what I like to call busy loops, to where they've got tubing running everywhere, and it's almost like you can't even trace the direction of the flow of the loop because there's tubes going absolutely everywhere. And that's something I actually try to avoid, and the reason why I do that is because you don't want to push your components, meaning your water blocks and everything, to the background, because when you've got a busy loop, that's what you're doing. You're pushing all those components, all those nice polished acrylic water blocks, you know, that polished backplate, the polished fittings, and even the crystal ink tube polishes up nice too. You're pushing all that to the background, and that's all you're able to see is just tubing going everywhere, and that's something I really don't like. I think it makes it look kind of cheap, in my opinion. It makes it look like there's more going on than is really necessary. If anything, I want to be able to see those components, and I just think it looks so much better like that. So that's the reason why you're going to see a lot of that from me, is you're not going to see a whole lot of busy loops, just because I don't want to push my components in the background like that. I think it makes it look cheaper, and it makes it look like there's more going on than there really is. I want to be simple, clean, and just perform well. That's basically what my mantra is for Ada Custom Computers, and my build style is simple and clean. Anyways, that's my little rant for this video. So I'm just going to finish out with some B-roll of the system running, and thank you guys for watching this video, and as always, like or subscribe, and